So in today's video, I'll be talking about the importance of taking responsibility. Now, what I mean by taking responsibility, I mean this in two facets. I mean, the first facet is that you taking ownership of your mistakes. You not blaming anyone, not blaming your teammates, not blaming your coaches, and you just having the mindset of anything bad that happens to me is on me. And then the next facet of taking responsibility is literally you as a player stepping up in big moments. So I'm talking about, stepping up for, free kicks, for penalty shootouts, a big cup semi-final, a big final. You take that responsibility. You go win the game for your team. You understand? When when it's a tight game, 1-0, 2-0, and the game's in the balance, you make that play. You go out there. You demand the ball. Maybe your team's struggling to retain possession. You get on that ball and you sort of calm your team down. Even if you don't even have to be like a centre midfielder, let's say, for you to get on the ball, put your foot on the ball and calm the team down. You can do that from centre back. You can do that from even as a striker. When the ball comes into you, let's say your team are struggling to keep hold of possession. The ball can come into you and you can just hold it and just encourage your teammates to just put their foot on the ball and just sort of relax and sort of slow the game down if you feel like, your team's not in control of the game. So yeah, this video is about you taking responsibility. And now, the first thing I wanna do is tell you a story. Now, this story was back when I was about 10, 11 years old. I was in year 6 and we were playing a football tournament. Went through the group stages, did all of that, round of 16, quarter-final, semi-final. This was one of them tournaments where we played all the games on the same day. So it's literally just a tournament. You play all the games on the same day against other schools around the area. We got all the way to, like I said, round of 16, quarter-final, semi-final, got all the way to the final. I'm pretty sure the final ended like 0-0, and it went to a penalty shootout. And I remember that we went to the penalty shootout, and obviously the coach was asking who wants to take a pen. I remember a lot of people put their hand up, but then there was this one player. He didn't put his hand up for taking a pen, but the coach picked him anyway. You understand? Because he was one of our better players. So the coach sort of forced him to take a pen because obviously the coach sort of trusted him. He believed in him, but the guy didn't end up putting his hand up. I put my hand up. I think a few other people put their hands up, and we all put our hand up to take a pen. And that one guy, he got chosen to take a pen because he was one of our better players, but he didn't actually want to take one, you understand? And then obviously he gets to the penalty shootout. I score my pen, and I score my pen, and they score all their pens, and I think it goes down to the 5th pen. So they've just scored their 5th pen, and that was 5-4. And obviously the guy who didn't put his hand up, the guy who didn't put his hand up, it's his pen now, and you can kind of just tell from his expression. When someone's walking up to the ball, when you watch it in professional football, maybe it's a Champions League final, maybe it's or any cup final, you can see a player walking to the ball and they're nervous beforehand. Their head's sort of down. They don't really look composed. You can see it in their face as well once they actually put that ball down on the spot, and you can just watch it in their face and you can just see it. And obviously, he took the pen and it ended up being a tame penalty. He ended up just putting it straight down the middle. Keeper even caught it, and I think we lost the penalty shot. We ended up losing that cup final. But the thing is, why I bring up this story is that one of my other friends who were on that team, we were talking about it maybe like 5 years later. We were having this conversation, and he was saying that he regrets not putting his hand up for a pen, or sort of not pushing harder to really tell the coach, yo, I want to take a pen, because he was one of the guys where he put his hand up as well, but the coach didn't actually pick him to take a pen, you understand? But he told me maybe 5-6 years later that he wished he would have taken that responsibility and really, urged the coach to let him take the pen, because everyone could kind of see that the guy who ended up missing the pen, he didn't really want to take it at the time, you understand? So he, literally 5 or 6 years later, he was telling me about his regret about not really taking that responsibility and sort of sitting back and not asserting himself into the mix, you know what I'm saying? Because he was telling me that, he wanted to take a pen, but he was moving kind of half. When the coach asks who wants to take a pen, and you always get that one player who he's half-hearted about it, he doesn't really fully put his hand up and say, I want to take a pen. That's what my friend was kind of saying. He was kind of saying I was kind of, doing it half-heartedly, me and a few other players, we were really enthusiastic about taking a pen, whereas he was like half and half. But the thing is, I know him, and I sort of know his temperament. I know in that situation, if that was him taking the pen, he would have scored, because I know he's one of them guys. He doesn't really get nervous. He doesn't really get nervous. You understand? And imagine this happened when we were like in year 6 or like 11 years old, and then when I saw him again, and then when we met up again when we were like 17 years old, that was one of the first conversations we had about football. About that time we were in that tournament, and yeah, we ended up losing a penalty shootout. You see. And that's the powerful thing. You don't want to have these sort of regrets later down the line, because it's 6 years later, just a meaningful, just sort of, what's it called? In the bigger picture, sorry, it seems like, just a meaningless, school tournament, but we still talk about it to this day. And that's an example of, you need to, as a footballer, you need to take responsibility. You need to take responsibility as a young player, or you will regret it. You understand? I always feel like when it comes to my mindset with penalty shootouts, I always want to take one, because I think I'll be able to deal with the loss better if it was me that missed the penalty. You understand? I know that might seem weird to people, but I feel like if it was me who missed the pen, I'll be upset. I'll be more okay. I'll be upset, but I feel like I'll be more okay with it, rather than it be somebody else ruin it for the team. You understand? I just want to have sort of that control over the result. You understand? I don't like when the outcome is out of my hands. You understand? I just feel like as a player, you want to have an effect on the outcome of the result. That's sort of just been my mentality for the last few years. I've always been like, yo, I don't want this to be a thing where it's like, what's it called? We lose a penalty shot and I didn't get to take one, and my other teammates missed, and the outcome of the game, we lost the game, and I didn't have any sort of control over the outcome of the result. You understand? So, like I said, that's just one form of taking responsibility. And I even told this to my brother. I remember my brother had a tournament, like in my example before. His team, went through the group stage, round of 16, quarter-final, semi-final, all the way to the final. And now my brother was the one in this situation where he was the last guy to take the pen. Obviously, if he missed, his team lost. He stepped up. He was confident as well. He stepped up, and then he ended up hitting the post. And I remember him being upset. I remember him, being upset, head down, as we were exiting like the place where the tournament was held, and we were getting back into the car, and he was bare upset. But the one thing I told him is that, yo, yeah, you missed the pen, but missing a pen doesn't mean you're a bad player. And I told him, the one thing I don't want to see from you is you shying away from penalties again. I need you to step up the next time and score. That was just my main message to him. I was just saying to him, yo, make sure the next time I come to see you play, I will need to see you step up for a pen. And then obviously the next time he played, they win a tournament again in another cup final. These are all sort of in his pre-season, so another pre-season tournament type of thing. He stepped up and he scored, and now it's been like, what, it's about 2 years later, and he's pretty much, and I'm pretty sure he's scored every single pen he's taken ever since. You understand? He's probably taken about 6 penalties, and he scored every single one. So you see how it's sort of a mentality thing, like, because imagine if he had the mentality of like, oh, I missed a pen, I'm just never gonna take one again. I'm gonna shy away. I'm not gonna take a pen. I'm too scared. I'm too afraid of missing. You understand? You can't really move like that. You just have to have the belief of like, alright, cool, I missed a pen. It's gonna happen anyway. Because let's be honest, if you score, great. Great. You win your team the game. You win your team the shootout. Or even if you lose the shootout, at least you can say you can do your job. But even if you miss the pen, you just have to have that sort of mentality of like, yo, I took responsibility. Other teammates of mine, they were too scared to take the pen, so they can't really talk to me. You understand? Certain guys were too scared to take the pen, and you just have to live with the result. And anyway, you learn from your mistakes, you learn from your failures. If you miss a pen, let's say you put your penalty over the bar, you know for next time, alright, cool, next time I'm not gonna put so much power on it. If the keeper sort of saves your pen, you're gonna say to yourself, alright, cool, my penalty, the keeper saved it. It was a good height for the keeper, middle of the goal. Next time I need to put my penalty more in the corner. You understand? So I feel like you shouldn't be afraid of stepping up and taking that responsibility, whether it's in like a penalty shootout or it's in like a a game situation where your team's struggling, you know, you're getting bopped. Let's say you're getting bopped off the park. You're struggling to retain possession. Hey, be the guy to get on the ball, or be the guy to like tell your teammates, yo, calm it down, get on the ball, and you know, be the guy to, you know, help your teammates tick. Be the guy to get on the ball and just sort of slow things down for your team. Give your team a breather. And just sort of, yeah, and just sort of help your team get through that tough period. You understand? Don't wait and look around for someone else to do it. You understand? I feel like that's that's the thing that separates, you know, good teams from bad teams. I feel like with good teams, you have players all over the pitch who want to take that responsibility. You have good players all over the pitch who have something to say. That's who have something to say. In good teams, every single person is a leader. Well, or some people lead from their voice, some people lead from their actions, but it's just all about leadership. The good teams that I've been on, a lot of players are always, you know, people are always talking, and even the ones who aren't really the most vocal, you can see it in their actions. You know, they want to take responsibility, they want to get on the ball. The bad teams I've been on are the teams where you have a bunch of guys who don't want to take responsibility for anything, a bunch of guys who are just sort of just looking around and just waiting for someone else to do it. You understand? And then on to my next point as well, the separator from good teams and bad teams as well, is that good teams, people can take criticism and they can accept their mistakes, and they'll just own up to their mistakes. This is another part of taking responsibility. When you make mistakes as a player, just accept it. Once you go into the change room, and even if guys are getting on to you saying, oh, you're shit, why did you pass the ball, are you stupid, are you dumb, even when they're giving you all of that, yeah, you just have to sort of take it on the chin and be like, alright, cool, my bad. Because as soon as you say those two words, alright, my bad, what can they really say after that? After that, it's just like, alright, cool, we go out for the second half and you try resurrect the mistake. You understand? But if you try to do this thing where you argue, you try and make excuses, you try to get onto someone else for making a mistake, that's when it just starts going sour. You understand? That's where you know, guys start getting into arguments. Then you're not really in the mode to go out and win the game. Instead of battling the opponents, you're battling your own teammates. You understand? So I feel like, especially with taking responsibility, if you're a defender and you make a mistake, it's sort of like, yo, let's say you give the ball away to the striker and he goes and he scores 1-0. Once you get in at half time, you just have to sort of take on the chin, be like, alright, cool, that was my fault. Or even if that mistake ends up losing you the game, you just have to be like, yo, just when you get back into the change room, just be like, yo, if anyone brings up the mistake, just be like, yo, it was my bad, my fault. We lost the game, it was my fault, but next week we go again, type of thing. And then you make sure you learn from that mistake as well, because the most annoying thing to have in a teammate is when they keep making the same mistake, like they never learn from that mistake. So for example, if you're a centre back and you've been told to not pass directly across your box as a centre back, and you do it, when you do it once, it's calm, and you take responsibility. Alright, cool, you've taken responsibility. People have got annoyed at you, but you take responsibility and you said you won't do it again. But if you consistently make the same mistakes, that's when it becomes an issue. That's when you deserve people to hurl abuse at you. I'm not gonna lie. The main thing is you take responsibility from your mistakes. You analyze where you went wrong. You say to yourself, alright, cool, where did I go wrong? And then you make sure you don't repeat that same mistake again. You understand? This goes for strikers missing chances. This goes for wingers maybe losing out in 1v1s. This goes for centre mids getting caught on the ball. You literally just analyze the situation and you be like, alright, cool, what do I need to do better? And I just make sure I never make that same mistake again. And even when your teammates make a mistake, I know even when your teammates make a mistake, you can get onto them. That's calm. It's fine to literally say to your teammate, yo, you need to do better, you need to do this, you need to do that. But at the end of the day, most likely you're not going to be able to pin the whole loss on one teammate. You understand? Because I've seen it happen before where a striker will get onto a centre back for maybe making a mistake that led to a goal. However, that same striker missed 5 big chances in one game. So it's like, if the striker puts away those 5 big chances, then that one mistake that the defender made doesn't really have the same sort of repercussions. You understand? So as a teammate, yeah, it's cool to, you know, criticize your teammates, get onto them, tell them what they need to do better, tell them, yo, you need to fix up, you need to make sure you don't make that same mistake again. But another thing as well is that make sure you look at yourself for the mistakes you made during the game, because sometimes you make a lot of mistakes, but they don't lead to goals. You understand? Like I said in the example, there could be a striker that misses 5 big chances, but then a defender makes 1 chance and the other team scores. But in that situation, that's just the life. That's just the life of a defender. But even if you're an attacker and you're getting onto your defender, you have to sort of look at yourself and be like, alright, cool, did I miss any big chances? And if you did miss any big chances, you have to say, yo, what do I need to do to improve? Why did I, I snatched at that chance? Why didn't I put that chance away? Oh, it's because I was scared to use my weak foot, so I had to sort of shoot with my strong foot in sort of an unorthodox way, in sort of an awkward way. So what do you need to do? You need to go work on your weak foot, you understand? So it's literally just all about just stepping up and taking responsibility. Whether that's, you making a mistake and you just taking accountability and you just putting your hands up and saying, alright, cool, it was my fault. Or just you stepping up in big moments, stepping up in penalty shootouts especially. Unless you are like tremendously bad at penalties, I would just say, yo, just step up for your team. Because like I said, I always have that mentality of like, yo, I want to have an influence on how this game goes. Like, I don't know, it's weird. Some people won't understand this mentality, but it's like, I want to be like, even if whether we win or lose, I want to have an impact. I want to have a say on how the game goes. I don't really just want to sit back and be like, alright, cool, I'll let other people do it, you understand? Because maybe that's because, I believe in myself from the penalty spot, but it's sort of like, yeah, I don't know. It's just something I feel like I've always in the last few years I've always just had this mentality especially when it comes to like penalty shootouts. I've just always wanted to take one because like I said, it's happened in the past where I haven't taken one and then other guys have taken one and they've missed, and that pisses me off, bro. That pisses me off because I'll be thinking, yo, if that was me, I would have scored that. You understand? Like I said, once again, that may be just to do with a confidence thing, that I have the confidence that I'll tuck away that pen. But when I see other guys miss, when I see other guys miss and I haven't been selected to take a pen, I'm just like, oh my days, like we lost the game and I didn't even have an influence. I didn't even get to have an influence. It's like, it's out of my hands type of thing. Like, I don't like it when, the situation's out of my hands and the result will still affect me, you understand? So in my opinion, even if you miss your pen, just step up again. Just like my brother, just step up again, because let's be honest, like I said, he's probably scored like his last 6 or 7 pens, and he probably barely even remembers that first pen he missed. Obviously a week later, as brothers do, me and my cousin, we were poking fun at our little brother, saying, oh, you missed the pen, blah blah blah. But still, he showed that mental toughness, step up once again, and now he doesn't have any sort of what's the phrase I'm looking for? He doesn't have any fears of taking a pen again. You know what I'm saying? He still steps up for pens confidently. So he's not even afraid of missing anymore. So yeah, make sure as a footballer you take responsibility. You don't look around at other people to do stuff for you. Understand? Because ultimately, yeah, football's a team game, but especially if you want to make it as a pro, everything's up to you. Nobody's gonna do the work for you. No one's gonna do this for you. So even if your team's getting smacked on a day, 3-0, 4-0, you make sure you do your very best. You make sure that you keep going, that your performance is solid, that you're not the main culprit. You're far from the main reason your team loses. And then obviously on the days where your team wins, you want to be the guy that's front and center. You want to be the guy that's the main reason for your team winning. So you've got to take responsibility in all aspects. Whether things are going good or things are going bad, you have to take responsibility. That's what the best players do. That's what the best players do, and that's what the players in the best team do. So, like I said, that's all I've got to say for this vid. Hope you enjoyed. I've been JT, and I'm out.